Hey guys, welcome to the YouTube video. Today it's going to be the last branch of my buck knife collection, and that is my pocket knives. And I've got one update on a buck knife that I was working on. And before I get started, I must apologize to my good friend Edward. In the previous video I mentioned one of the knives that he did a trade with me about a year or so ago. And he said that I didn't buy it at a pawn shop. I actually got it from him, and he was a little bit unhappy that I said that because I had forgotten all about it. So once again, Edward, I completely apologize. And this is not the same Edward that's JJ Jinx. This is a different person named Edward. So I greatly apologize to my buddy. So let's get started with this. And I look forward to doing another trade with you, man. Once again, if anybody wants to correct me on some of the stories I may know about these, happily tell me, because I have so many of these. Every once in a while, I may forget about one or two. So, like I said, happily tell me if I may have gotten something wrong. So, as always, I have them organized from the oldest all the way up to the newest. So, let's get started. First is this 301. This particular one, yeah, I remember this one. I got this one at a flea market. Wait a minute. Yeah, I got this one at a flea market, because I remember this unusual stamp. This one just says Buck USA on it. And just judging from my tank stamp chart, this one is a 1967 to 1972. Beautiful condition. Again, you don't see these very often. This one's one of my favorite designs by Buck. Next is a 701, and this particular name of this knife is called, oh, I'm probably going to butcher this name. My apologies in advance. A Bronco? I have some of these written down just in case I forget the names, but if I butcher the name, my apologies. But this particular one, I got at a flea market, and again, beautiful knife. You hardly ever see this particular one, and this one has a unique story to it. I picked this one up, and I originally sent it into Buck because I wanted new handles on it, and I wanted to see if they could put the shield back on it. And they basically told me they couldn't do that because they didn't have those parts anymore, so they basically stamped an X on the back of it, which I was fine with because that shows it's been warranted. So I was still happy with it. They sent it back to me, and I was glad to put it back in my collection. And this one dates from 1972 to 1986. Beautiful year. Next is another 301, and this one is from 1967 to 1972 to 86. My apologies. Beautiful. This one, if I remember, I got from my good buddy Outdoors Addiction. He got this for me in an auction, and we did a trade on it. Beautiful condition. Hardly seen any use. It's not been resharpened. Well, it's been sharpened, but it's not been retipped. Beautiful knife. Next is a 319. This one I did a trade with a guy a while back on, because this one was a little bit unusual. It almost looks like your standard 301. But once you get the blades open, you see this one looks a little bit different. It has a leather punch on it instead of a standard blade. Beautiful knife, kind of a rare model. You don't really find these very often. And this one's in slightly used condition, but still it's in great shape for its age. This one is from 1972 to 1986. Again, beautiful shape for the age. Again, one of the unusual pieces in my collection. Next is another 301 from the same year as this one, but they have different handles, which is another reason I like these. As you can see, on this one, it has a standard Buck emblem. And then on this one, it has the older style hammer and knife emblem. Both made the same year, just with different handles, which is another thing I like. If it's slightly different than any of the ones I've got, I definitely want it. But other than that, they're both from the same year. Yeah, 1972 to 1986. Just different handles, which is what I like. Next is a large Stockman. This one is a 307. Now, just to show you a comparison, this is a standard 301, and this is is the 307. As you can see, that's a lot bigger. And this one I actually found at my local flea market, and I at first thought it wasn't an original buck because of how large it was. But once I got a look at the tang stamp, I paid for it and took it home. And this particular size is one of my favorites. I love the Stockman because of the size of this one. It's one of my favorite designs. Because I used to carry one of these all the time before I had a buck 110. Beautiful. Next is a 709. This one I bought at a pawn shop. 709. Let's see, the name this one is called is... Come on, where are you? 709. The yearling model. Beautiful knife. I love that it still has the original emblem on the handle because the other one I had originally had it missing. Beautiful condition. That's still one of my favorite finds from the pawn shops. Next is this 503. If I remember right, this one was one of the ones I bought in a Facebook lot of knives. There was a guy on Facebook selling a lot of knives, and I recognized this one, so paid him his money, and he sent it to me. And this one is called a 503, and this one is from... This is the 503 Prince. Beautiful knife. From the stamp, it's from 1972 to 1986. Beautiful knife. Again, you don't really see these very often. And just to clarify, this one's from the same year, 1972 to 1986. And this one is a 501. This one, if I remember right, I got this one in another lot that I purchased. And this one is called, again, it's always important to write this stuff down. 501. This one's the 501 Squire. Again, 1972 to 1986. Beautiful knife. If this knife wasn't very collectible, I would so carry this knife because I love the smallness of it and I love how easy it is to grip in my hand. Definitely a mini 110. Sucks some company's logos on this thing, but I don't want to risk damaging it, so I left it on there. Again, beautiful condition. This one's one of my favorites. This one's from my good buddy Outdoors Addiction as well. He got this for me. This is a 303 from 1989. Brand new, never been used. He found this for me at an auction, and when he told me it was brand new, I was kind of skeptical at first. But once I actually got it, there is no signs of sharpening. There's no dings on this thing besides it being taken in and out of a package. And there's no rust spots at all on this thing. There's no use on this thing. It is as brand new as he told me. And I gave him a very fair trade in exchange for this thing. Because you hardly find these from that era brand new, never been used. All I would need is a box to put this in, and I would consider it brand new old stock. Beautiful knife. Thank you very much, Outdoors. That'll always still be one of my favorites. Next is this one. This is a 2000 model. This one I actually picked up at a pawn shop, the same as this little one. And beautiful knife. Again, one of my favorite designs. It's the Stockman, because it'll always still be one of my favorites. Again, you hardly see these very often. I wish I had one that was the year I was born, 2002. This one's only 1 year off. The next is another 503. Another 503 Prince. And this one from the date code is from 2001. And this one, if I remember right, I bought this in a lot that I bought off Facebook. I used to buy a couple lots on Facebook. They don't appear that much anymore. And this particular one, I had to re-tip because the original tip was busted off. But I didn't want to send it in because I didn't have one with this particular year. So I figured I would leave it alone and just re-tip it and put it in my collection. Beautiful knife. This one I got at the same pawn shop I got this one from. And this one is a 709 from 2003. Beautiful knife. Again, if this wasn't collectible, I would so carry this thing because I love how small it is and the butt quality you just can't beat. Beautiful. And then getting into the last few, these are the more modern ones. These are the only China knives I have that are made by, blades are made in China, but the handles are produced by Buck. And normally I don't ever buy these because I just don't want them, but my father got me these in a collector's set for Christmas a couple years ago, and of course I'm going to keep them because he got them for me for Christmas. And this one is a 373 from 2020. And this one is a 379 from 2020. And they both come in a little collector's tin. And you used to be able to buy these at Walmart around Christmas for around 20 bucks. I'm pretty sure they're raising their prices on that. Beautiful knives. I just wish they were made in the U.S. I'll still never use them, though. And last but not least is the Stockman. The 301. With the cherry wood handles and brass bolsters. And this particular one, you don't really see that often. This one has a unique story to it. It originally was one of these regular 301s, but when I bought it, the original one I had, all three blades were busted. I mean, they were busted all the way to right here. There was no blade left in them, and I sent it to Buck, and I asked them if they could either replace the blades or send me a brand new one, because they're still making this knife today here in the U.S., and I waited a while, and they actually told me since they couldn't give me this model because they were out of it, they actually gave me the more expensive model, which I was perfectly fine with. The modern version of this is right around 50 bucks unless they've raised the price. This one is right around $60 depending on if they raise the price or not. And I was so happy the fact they gave me a more expensive one because they didn't have this one. Beautiful knife. If this one wasn't very nice, I would so carry this thing. It's the right size Stockman I like, and it's just so beautiful. Again, you don't see these very often. Beautiful. Alright, that's all my Buck pocket knives, and last but not least is an update on this Buck knife I bought in a previous video. And I really didn't do much to it because I didn't want to accidentally rub off the North American Hunting Club on the blade. So what I did is I completely cleaned all the rust off the back of this and polished this side, and then took this knife completely apart and cleaned each individual part and put it all right back together. And I didn't want to touch this decorative work, so again, I just left it alone and cleaned all the rust on the inside, oiled it, and put a new screw right here because the other one was missing. Beautiful. That was the best $12 I've ever spent. And then I put a new edge back on it, even though I don't ever plan on using this thing. And the best thing is it's got the original pocket clip on it with the Buck triangle that you don't normally see. And the best thing is I've actually got an original sheath to go with this knife. And it fits it perfectly. Best $12 I've ever spent. Look forward to buying something else from that flea market. Anyway, I guess I'll end the video right here. In the next video, I will do a video of all my charade knives I've collected. And let me know in the comments if you want me to do a video of all the Buck knives I have either bought at a pawn shop or bought at a flea market. Or the ones my father has given me over the years. So let me know in the comments if you want to do something like that. Once again, I'm sorry, Edward, for mistakenly saying that it was from a pawn shop. So once again, Edward, I am apologizing. So like I said, anytime I miscorrect something, always happily let me know. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I look forward to collecting more Buck knives and keep collecting, my brothers. And as always, stay sharp and keep collecting.